Hello friends! It's Jen from Stitching Social, and I'm here at the cottage. I came up to the cottage a week ago today, and I thought I've got lots to show you. Allison's not here with me. If you're just joining for the first time, Allison and I are sisters, and we make videos about cross-stitch together here on Flosstube. And we've been doing it now for 2 years, I think. And yeah, so we get together well, it was a lot more frequent when we first started making videos, but life's gotten a bit hectic now. And sometimes I've made videos myself the odd time. Last year, I did it during Stitch Mania. I made a couple of videos myself, and I vlogged Stitch Mania last year. And I just did it myself, but usually we make videos together. But I'm up at the cottage, and I figured, and actually we're leaving today. I came with the 2 kids, and I figured, you know what, I brought quite a lot of stuff in a stitching basket, and like I brought a couple of whips, and I brought some, actually there's some haul in there, and there's some interesting things. And I thought, you know what, and I've actually had a lot of stitching time this week. So I thought, you know what, I'd really like to make a video and show you what I have. So really, I think you'd be interested in some of the things I have. So right now if you look right behind, you see the nice blue sky. Today's a really nice day. We're expecting 2 days of rain. So I've decided I think I'm going to take the kids home, because I think we've been here a week, so I'm ready to be home. And then I think Friday's going to be a really nice day, but yeah, so right behind me here is nice blue sky and trees, and then behind those trees is the lake. So we're really close to, like, I'm at my parents' cottage, and their cottage is on the water, but it's on a hill. So you go down really nice steps down to the water, and there's a dock there. And actually, my dad's I don't have any noise around me because my dad's just taking my daughter out on the boat. And there's like a little, they call it, there's like a convenience store, and you can boat to it. So it's really interesting, but there's road access here, and I love being here. It's really nice. There's something, like, I just love being at the cottage with all the nature, the lake, the trees, everything. The air is different here. It's just a different pace, and it's a really good time to slow down. And just like kind of just do a little bit of a different pace of life. So I really like being here, and I really like bringing the kids and having them experience it. When I was a kid, and Allison, when we were kids, our parents, I'm the oldest of 4, and then Allison, and then we have a brother, and then we have another sister. And there's 10 years between me and the youngest, so there's quite a range. But my parents, when I was in high school, they bought this, if I'm not mistaken. When I was in high school, they bought the cottage. So, yeah, so but before having the cottage, we used to go camping. So I told my daughter, I said, Adriana, she's 5, I said, it's so special that we have this place to come, because I said, we used to go, when I was a kid, when I was your age, we used to go camping. And that was fun too, but it's different. It's nice. It's nice to have a place, like we have an indoor bathroom here and stuff like that. There's also an outhouse on the property, but it's just really nice to have a place to come. We're really lucky, especially now with COVID-19, and it's just nice to be a little vacation without really going anywhere. It is a 4-hour drive from my house, but I don't mind the drive. It's not bad. It's a little bit much of a drive if you're just coming for a couple of days, but because we've been here a week, it's not bad. So, yeah, so I thought, hey, do you want to see my stitching basket? Because okay, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. So when I was packing, I packed a week ago to come here. I packed the day before, and then I packed all that morning, and then, like, it was time to go. It was like a 2-day adventure just to get here with the kids, right? Because my husband's at home working. He's working from home now with COVID-19. So I thought, yeah, so I'm always, like, my stuff's the last to be packed, right? Like, I packed the kids' stuff, and I had the car ready the night before, but my stuff's always last to be packed. but so I just kind of threw helter-skelter a bunch of stuff in a basket. But it's like a super sturdy basket. Like, it's good to go traveling. So I'll show you the basket. So I just put all my stuff, I just jammed it up all in here. And I didn't really prepare this basket, so this is pretty much how it is. And I gotta jam some more stuff in to go home, but that's real life. So I'm gonna start by showing you something that I was working on last night, and it's a Blackbird design piece. I'll start by showing you the chart. So this is the chart. It's by Blackbird Designs, When You See This, and it's called Remember Me, and it's a series of, it says a series of 9 family history patterns. I'm a real sucker for series, but I think that I'm not going to be hot after all of them. I think that this is a nice chart, and I love the other ones, but like, okay, look at this. Also available in the series. Number 2 is Missouri Home, and then number 3 is Maud Eloise, 1891. And those are really pretty. I don't have those. And I think, like, now that I'm thinking about this out loud, that if I had seen those, I would have bought them. But I don't have to have them all. I'm okay with not doing them all, but what did I like about this pattern? Because I'm trying to think, why did I buy this one? Well, first of all, it was at the shop that I go to. It was probably one of the only ones she had. It's an older chart. It's, okay, I don't know where the date is, but 2006. So I really liked it because it says, on the chart it says, when this you see, remember me. And I really like that, and I really like purple, and there was something about these flowers that went around, and the whole border doesn't meet up at the top. Like you'll see on my piece, like it's not connected, so I thought, you know what, I really like that, that's different. I love a border that meets up, don't get me wrong, but I just thought, there's something about this that I really liked, and I like how the letters here, like the words, aren't even, like it's not centered, like it's kind of, I like how they're just placed in the grass. This, a lot of stitching, okay? Like, it calls for 3 skeins. They're up front here in the chart about how many skeins you probably need for it. They suggest 3 skeins, and it calls for a Gentle Arts Camille. But the equivalent, Blackbird Design gives a really good equivalent and has an equivalent of 371. And, so yeah, it's pretty true, and I'm doing 28 count, so I think I'm probably on my 3rd skein, and I still have a little bit left. So I would say 3.5. So those are the things I really liked about the chart, and I'm actually almost done. I brought 3 whips with me this trip, but I thought, I don't know, sometimes different things speak to you for different reasons, so I decided to work on this one the last couple days. So why don't I put it right behind this? I've almost done it, and I've made some changes. So that is my progress, and you can see I've got the oops, sorry, I've just got to finish up the green down here, the 317, and okay. So I, first of all, should tell you that I'm stitching this in DMC, and so the colors in Blackbird Design, some of the colors, like these flowers, are a blend. So it said it's these 2 colors equal this color from Gentle Arts, but I put 1 strand of each DMC that was the suggested, and I put that together and stitched. So it gives it a little bit of a salt and peppery look. So it's a different, I guess one thing I could have done is I could have stitched some stitches with the one color and some stitches with the other. That would have been beautiful too. And thinking back, maybe I would have maybe achieved more of the look of the pattern, because the pattern is a little bit different than what I have. When I first started stitching this, I thought I really actually regretted doing the DMC. I thought I really should have bought the real color, like the called for specialty floss, because I was feeling a little bit like, there wasn't a lot on it. And when I first started, like I had the house and I had this tree, and I thought, you know, it's a little boring. Like the colors are very muted, and I wasn't really feeling the DMC for some reason. I thought, oh, shoot, I wish I got the specialty floss. But as I was stitching and as I did some of the border and as I went along, I really realized that these are beautiful. It's different than the picture, but sometimes when you buy the specialty floss, they're different anyways. So I really embraced the fact that it was different look. It was more purple, but I really realized that, you know what, as I went along, that I really appreciated that it was more purple, because that's what one of the things I loved about it, that there's purple in it, kind of like a pinky purple. So yeah, so that's what I did, and I changed the words, as you can see. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, for me, when I'm looking at my screen, it's backwards, but I'm pretty sure you see it. So when this you see, remember me, and the designer here put her initials, I think, no, I'm not 100% sure, actually. I'd have to read the little thing. But anyways, and Blackbird Design gave you the letters that you could put to customize it for yourself. But I thought, as I was stitching it, it was kind of a last minute decision. I decided that I wanted to stitch Mom. And I put a heart from another Blackbird chart. And I can't remember the chart that I pulled the heart from. But anyways, it's different than this heart. This heart's in the chart. So that was kind of a last minute decision. And one thing it's worth mentioning, because don't be afraid to change if it suggests initials, if you want to put something else, or if you want to put anything really. Like you could put remember me, and you could put like maybe a street address that you lived, or you could put like anything you want. Like you can really customize it with these charts. Don't feel like you have to do it exactly like the chart. And I think a lot of people do branch out, but if you feel like, oh, maybe I'd like to try that, don't be afraid, because you can rip it out. And one thing that really helps me, because I have a hard time I don't just stitch it and kind of wing it, because first of all, I stitched this on 28 count mushroom Lagana. And what I did was I put it on my I always make a working copy for the most part, especially with Blackbird Design, because I don't really want to be the charts are special to me and they're expensive. So I always make a working copy that's what I work from. And I always keep this with my project, because sometimes I like to refer to the colors or see what the big one remind myself. But anyways, what I do is on my working copy, I can show you, because this is my doing, and it's just because there's the grids. If you make a good working copy, I can show you this, because it's not. So what I do is I actually took my highlighter and I placed it out. I kind of eyeballed like the alphabet that's given, and then I went ahead and colored in the squares over top of the chart, because highlighter, you can see it. I used pink and something noticeable, and then I put the heart in as well, so that way I could play with the placement. And one thing, because it was only 3 letters and it was the heart, and I was pretty sure where I wanted it, excuse me, I didn't bother doing it in pencil first, but you could for sure do it in pencil first, and then do it in highlighter, so that, and another thing too is that it's all charted out now, and I keep my working copies because I make lots of notes on the side. I've got here some vitamins that someone recommended while I watched Flosstube. So, yeah, I've got all kinds of neat things written on the side. So I keep my working copies because I make oftentimes notes about charts. Anyways, my point is that I have gone back to charts that I have used, my working copies. I keep them with my chart. I keep it inside, and I keep them in a little really nice, like, kind of, it looks like a planter bucket. Anyways, I should show you sometime. But I keep them together because sometimes I can use those words or things that I did or reference that chart, my working copy, and redo that, replicate it somewhere else, because maybe there's another Blackbird chart that I want to do that. So anyways, all that to say that that's how I change my pattern, and don't be afraid to do that. And I think maybe if you try adding a heart or something that complements the design before you do words is really interesting. So the next thing I want to mention about this pattern is more words that I wanted to put. So because I put these specific words on here, let me just zip my thing up again so I can hold it. I put my two daughters' names on it. I put Adriana and Victoria's names, and they're not really that centered. I had a hard time finding a font that would fit where I wanted it, and they have long names. So what I did the exact same as when I did Mom. I took the chart and I'll show you the alphabet book that I used. I wanted to show you that as well, but I did it on the paper. So I'm really thinking that was a really good idea, because, and that's why I'm mentioning it, because there will be other things in the future that I may want to stitch with Victoria and Adriana's name on it. And now I've got it on the paper, and I know, like when I look at this on the wall, when it's all framed, so I'm going to frame it, I'll be able to reference the chart instead of looking at my piece to replicate their names, because I did them in cursive writing. So, and I did them in Backstitch, and I did them 2 strands. I can show you a little bit closer. Here's Adriana and Victoria. So they're not centered, and when I put it up and I stood back from it, I actually really liked that they're not super centered, because everything is a little bit wonky on this chart. Even the words at the bottom, when this you see remember me, I like that they're not. That's one of the things I liked about it. I'm gonna add, so I'm not done this. I have to finish the bottom, I have to finish the green, and I left out the date at the top here. Was it? Yeah, I left the date out here. There's a date of 1936. So I'm going to put something else. I'm not done. I may individualize this a little bit more, and I may put some of these little speckles around to try and fill it in a little bit. So yeah, so I really think this piece is special. I really, my intention was to make this piece was that, because it says, when this you see remember me, that one day when I'm gone, that my girls will see their names on this and know that I was thinking of them and that I made this for them. And it's just, you know, maybe only one will want to keep it, but it meant a lot to me. I think pieces that you can pass down are really special. And I mean, that's why I got back into stitching, was because I was stitching something for my first daughter. So yeah, I really love that piece, and I'm excited to have it done, but at the same time, I've really enjoyed stitching it. So I want to show you quickly the alphabet book that I use, because it's not my book. This book belongs to my mom, and she bought it a long time ago, and it's called 101 Alphabets, Learn to Design, and it's by Dale Burdett. And it's, I believe, the date's in Roman numerals, but I think it was published in 1988. And my mom helped me figure that out, because she said, you know, I think I bought this book before I started stitching, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was before she started stitching. So anyways, inside they have all kinds of different books. She ended up buying this from a store called White Rose in, it says Unionville, Ontario. But she paid $7.29, and it is, I've got another leaflet in here, a Leisure Arts leaflet, this one here, 21 more Backstitch Alphabets, and I almost did use an alphabet from here to make my names. But definitely I'm going to be looking for, when I get a chance to go to the needlework store again, I'm going to be looking for an alphabet book myself, because I think that it's really good to have in your stash, because it seems like I've used it a couple of times now. I did a strawberry piece, another blackbird piece actually, Strawberry Fields, a while ago. I did a Sal with my sister, and a couple other people joined us on Instagram, and I ended up putting Stitching Social on it, and it looks really nice with a little heart. Maybe I'll show you that again sometime in the future. But anyways, so I was saying to my mom that definitely I'm going to need to look for my own book, but this is the book that I use, and I don't know if it's still available. But if you have it, don't get rid of it, because it's really good resource. Really, really good. So, and they're actually, I was flipping through it and I was like, oh wow, this is so neat. Like it gives you the grid paper to be practicing, and you could really individualize something. And that's kind of why I want an alphabet book. So in the meantime, you don't have to have everything. You can borrow. I borrowed this from my mom, and my intention was for her to bring it to the cottage and I would stitch their names and then I would leave it here with her. So yeah, so that, I wanted to show you that, and I'm really loving that piece. So don't be afraid to change things or add things, and try it out on graph paper. Like, just try it. I think it's worth it sometimes when you take a little risk. Sometimes you can make a piece so different that's more personal to you. But there's nothing wrong with just stitching the piece exactly the way. I really like that sometimes because it's very mindless and it's really fun. Okay, so no particular order. I guess I'll do this one next. This is kind of neat. So I was looking through a book of my mom's. She's working on a piece right now. I actually can show it to you. Christmas Garden by Blackbird Design. And it's Home for the Holidays book. And she's stitching... Let me just flip to it real quick. I usually have these things bookmarked, but here it is. She's stitching Christmas Garden. And I love her piece. And she gave permission for me to show you. She gave permission for me to hold it up and show you. I love how she's stitching it. It's on page 8, the picture in the book. And I just want to point something else out that I really like about Blackbird Design. And I know other designers do this as well. But in the book, they say, like, this particular pattern designed by Barb Adams. And it says it gives credit to the person that stitched the model. And in some patterns in this book, I noticed, they give credit to the person that did the finishing. And I think that is really noble, because, first of all, they're stitching models, so oftentimes the person that's stitching it isn't putting their initials. I personally put my initials on my piece. I know some people don't, but I think that that's really important. I think that that's good. And the person that stitched it, actually the piece, one of the other pieces that I flipped to, the same person stitched it. So I think that that's really noble that they did that. I think it's important to give credit to the people that are stitching these models. They're gigantic pieces. Like, this one is 225, so Christmas Garden is 225 wide by 272 high. Like, that's really big, and I'll hold it up. I'm not 100% sure the fabric she's doing it on is 28 count. And she's stitching it with some of the called for specialty floss and some of the called, like the converted DMC. And it's beautiful. Like, I have to show you this. Like, this is so beautiful. And she's really coming along on it. And she gave me permission to show you. So, look. Look at that. And she's all the way at the bottom. So she's just joining up the borders here over on this side. And it is so pretty. Look. That would be a beautiful piece just to do that part. But look, and it's a really gorgeous piece. Like, seeing it on camera isn't doing it any justice. Like, sometimes when I look at Blackbird patterns and charts, I fall in love with the picture on the chart. Other designers as well. And I go and get the specialty floss, and I spend a lot of money doing it sometimes. And, you know, sometimes the picture, I get disappointed because the picture doesn't look like, you know, if you're stitching a blue house and it doesn't look, your blue is different because of different dye lots. I get a little disappointed sometimes, admittedly. Maybe my expectations are a little bit less the more I stitch, and the more that I understand that that's going to happen because of dye lot, different various dye lots and whatnot. And it's always nice to have a little bit of a variation. And it's also that the lighting of certain, you know, of certain like I was saying to my mom, I really like this pillow, but will the color that I get really look like that? So that's what I'm falling in love with. But when it doesn't look like that, I start getting disappointed. So, anyways, all that to say that, why, I don't know why I mentioned that, but, I need Allison here to keep me on track. But all that to say that this is a beautiful piece, and she's stitching it with, like I said, with some of the called for specialty floss and some of the DMC. They give a very good DMC conversion so that you can, like, I've held up, we did this actually a couple days ago where we were holding up the called for specialty floss and then the DMC conversion, and they were very close. So if they were giving two to make one particular color, sometimes what she said, instead of blending the two strands, which I mentioned that I did in my Blackbird piece, what she did, and I really like the look of it, is sometimes she stitched with one of the DMC colors that was in the conversion, and sometimes she stitched with the other. So it really gave it a really variegated look, but with no purpose. Like, she just would grab, if she was done that strand of DMC, then she would grab the other one. And it is beautiful, like really beautiful. And I think she also maybe looked at her work too to decide, okay, I want to put a little darker here. So I really like it. I was raving about it, and I said, I really like this more than the picture. I hate to say that, but I really like it. And sometimes, like when you go on a ledge like that, sometimes you end up with something that's really different. And sometimes you end up with something that's like, everybody's like, oh my gosh, what did you do? You know, that is so pretty. So that's why I was raving about her chart, or her work. And yeah. And I guess that brings me to the next thing that was in my bag, because when I was oohing and awing over this book, Home for the Holidays, I really liked these stockings, like really liked them. And I thought, and then, but before I really liked them, I didn't realize, well, I realized after a few minutes that they're all different, they're all, I won't show you all of them, but they're all different alphabets. Like this is A, B, C, D, E, F. And I thought, oh my gosh. And there's 5 of them. And I thought, and they're quite large. Like, and I have some other Blackbird Design monthly stockings. I need to do these stockings. And I was oohing and awing over them, and I'm like, oh, I need to do these stockings. They're so pretty. And the next time I see this book, I'm buying it, because I want to stitch everything in this book. Like, oh, every time you see Blackbird, just buy it. So they went home for a couple of days, and I remained at the cottage with the kids, and she came back with a little case. This was in my box, a little case, and the DMC floss. She was at home, and she was just so happened going to Michael's, and she said, let me know the floss that's required for that chart. She left it so that I could look at it. And I gave her the 5 colors that's included, that is called for in the legend. And she came back with it, and she came back with this little case, and I believe this is from Michael's. And she came back with a little fob that you put, a little fob here, and it says, cool your jets. I feel like I've said that to people, and I feel like people have said that to me, for sure. People have said that to me. But anyways, it kind of, I mean, who knows you best, right? Your mom. So she got me this, and she has some scrapbooking paper, and she's been making her own thread drops. And she said, I really think you should try, for the stockings, pick out some paper, make your own thread drops. And it's really fun to play with them. Here I am petting them here. So here's all the DMC. And they're not on here like super fancy. Like I've put them on the keychain here. And those are all my thread drops. And then I made a tag that says Blackbird Design, Home for the Holidays, stockings 1 to 5. So I have all the floss. I just don't have the pattern yet. So I can't start these until I have a pattern. I actually have some fabric in my bag, some 36 count Edinburgh that I really like, that I thought I could start it, but I'll wait till I get home to start it, because I don't have a copy of it. So that will come. I'm going to find it. I'm on a mission. I'm going to find it. I'm going to stitch these stockings, all 5, and they're so pretty. They're so pretty. Oh, I don't know. They're so pretty. Oh. I gotta show you another one. I'll show you the next one, okay? This one's Poinsettia. I showed you the first one. Look at this. My heart is home. Oh, I don't know. The fact that they're stockings, maybe. The fact that they're stockings, that is just so cute. And they're quite large. This one here, well, they're all the same size, is 89 wide by 134 high. So they're a little bit bigger. And I've finished a stocking before. 2 stockings, actually. And one I gave away and one I made for Victoria. It's got a little stork on it. It's really cute. I think I've showed it. And so they're doable. They're super easy. So I'm going to for sure do those. So I'm really excited. So that's one of the things that's in my bag. And I've got extra thread drops. And what I did here on the thread drop, my mom suggested, I wrote what the DMC was, and I put equals to, like this is DMC 221, and it's equal to Country Redwood. And that's what was in the book. So that's what I put on here. Because in the future, it's kind of washed out. But in the future, maybe, I don't know, I'm going to say, oh, Country Redwood, what do I have that's Country Redwood? I'm not sure how it's going to work for me. I'm not sure that I like this system because how am I going to put these back now? And I have DMC bobbins and I put them back for DMC. So I don't know how this is going to work in real life. And maybe I'll use all the floss for this chart and it's just going to work out just perfect, but I don't know. And one thing that I should mention is that this I found very time consuming to do these thread drops because you do one punch and then you do this punch and then you do the small punch. And I thought, okay, this is a craft in itself. I don't know about you guys. I fully appreciate that it's a craft for a craft for a craft. But I, like, for right now, for me, in the stage that I'm at, is I'm like, if I get stitching time, I'm a happy camper. And if I get even 1 or 2 stitches in, it's probably a good day. I'm not getting a lot of stitching. So for me, I'd rather sit and stitch and just pull it off quickly on the bobbin. But I thought, I'm going to try new things. I'm going to try this because a lot of people like it. And doesn't it look pretty? All done? You wouldn't know it took me over an hour to do all this. And I didn't get even 1 single stitch in. But it's really pretty. So I wanted to try it. And now it's all ready to go in here. And they're all calling my name. So that's one thing that's in my basket. Okay, we're 32 minutes in and I've got a whole basket. I'm going to try and speed it up. Okay, another thing that I have here, I've got an Evertote bag from Caroline. And in this bag is some cool things. I've got a chart that I showed you, I believe, on our last video. Exemplars from the Heart. And it's called the Greenhouse Sampler. And I started this in May for Mother's Day. May? Yeah, in May. Is that our last video? Oh, that's crazy. Okay, so I started this for Mother's Day, I think. Anyways, I remember in our last video, I had some things that I was going through, and I said, well, what about this or this? Anyways, I love it. Because I made jokes saying, oh, I'm definitely drinking wine, so I might as well stitch some grapes with COVID and everything. But this is my chart. I'll show you some progress. I won't talk too much about it, but... Okay, how do I show this nicely without the glare? It's got the alphabet at the top and the purple grapes and the green grapes. Look at the green grapes. Oh my god. Look at the green grapes. I'm using all the called for specialty floss. Except this is, it's a color that's very much the same as DMC 501. And I am using, I want to tell you what it is. 5, it's not, it must be on the other side of the fold here. Anyways, I'm using Victorian Model, which is 501, equivalent to 501. And I love it. I changed the cat. We had a family cat that was 18 years old. Her name was Charlie, and she passed away last summer. She was very old. She was suffering a lot, and she was very special to everybody in the family. And I really wanted to stitch. Every time I see a black cat, I think of her because she was quite petite and she didn't have a tail, which my mom pointed out. She says, oh, well, that's not really Charlie because this cat has a tail. So I don't know if I should rip it out or just leave it, but maybe I should rip it out. But it was special to me. My daughter really loved that cat too. So anyway, that's how I changed that one. Oh, the other thing too is this sampler was missing the letter J. And I didn't realize actually that some letters in samplers, I'm quite new to samplers and I'm learning quite a lot, but I didn't realize that some samplers don't have a complete alphabet. And I wasn't prepared to talk about that. So I don't have the reasoning behind it, but not all alphabets had all the letters that we know to have it, is the gist. I'll put some links down below of some really interesting articles, because I read Modern Folk Art has a really interesting description about it. And so I educated myself because I thought, oh my gosh, there's an error in the pattern. There's missing the letter J. Well, oftentimes J was not in samplers. So I was kind of offended by that particularly, because I'm like, well, that's my name. I have to stitch J. So I squeezed it in and I extended I believe I extended the border. I'm not 100% sure now, actually. I'd have to look, but I did put the letter J in. But now that I know that, I don't know why. If I had known that before, I wouldn't have stitched the J in it. I would have left J out. But there was something about it. I'm like, no, I gotta put the J in. So that's in my Evertote bag, and I'm stitching it on a hoop. It's funny because some things I stitch on a hoop and some things I stitch on a Q-snap. It's really what is closer to me and what I have access to make the quickest stitch I can. I'm about the stitching and the buying in the stash. Okay. Then I thought, well, I'm at the cottage. I need a light. What if I don't have a light? I mean, there's lots of lights here, but I thought, oh, like I got to pack a light. And my house we're renovating our basement right now, but I knew exactly where my light was. I have lots of lights. I have a bit of a problem with light because I buy them all. I have one, basically if I wanted to sit anywhere, I could keep an light there. But I bought this little light that's portable. It's by Tech Stuff, Portable Flex Lamp. And I honestly bought this probably a year and a half ago. I bought this because my sister received this as a gift from her friend in New Jersey. And I thought, oh, I need that in my life. So I went to Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon. So I'll just hold it up here. Tech Stuff, Portable Flex Lamp. It was very inexpensive. You put batteries in it. So I brought with me 2 sleeves of batteries. So that's another thing. I've never used this light, but I'll tell you, when I need light, I've got the right supplies. So I'm all about that. There's lots of light here too, right? You go to a stitcher's cottage and you're going to have exactly what you need, including more than you thought, because I walked away now with new possible whips. Well, not whips because I haven't started it. Okay. The other thing I have in here, sorry, I'm reaching down into the basket, is I have a project that's in a bag that I bought from my friend Kim. Right? I think I bought this from you, Kim. And it's got it's got a vinyl plastic front. I really love this bag. It matches a lot of the projects that I like. So, and it's a Cooler Design O Canada chart. And I'm sorry I don't have a better picture, but for those of you that are Canadian, I'm sure you've seen this, and you can still purchase it. It was actually on sale, too, over Canada Day. This is my Canada Day start. So, Cooler Classic Charts O Canada by Sandy Orton. And it's the chart number, believe KDS hashtag 000. Right there. And I bought this as a PDF. And I have seen people... 2010 it came out. I've seen people stitch this and it's an absolutely gorgeous chart. It's quite large. But that's okay. I'm doing it on 16 count. I'm doing it on 32 count vintage pearled barley by Lakeside Linens, and it's gonna be, well, the stitch count is 251 wide by 97 high, so it's very long. And yeah, it's a really pretty chart, and it all calls for DMC. I don't have very much started, but I'll show you. Why not? That's it there. That's all I have. The top border. And I started in, I usually start in the upper left corner. I used to start in the center, but I have found through doing more stitching, more pieces, bigger pieces, smaller pieces, that I can save my fabric the most if I stitch in the upper left corner. And I've been leaving 2 inches, which is plenty for framing. I did that, and the DMC color. I'm really excited to stitch more on this because I want to show you more. The colors are so pretty, and I think they're going to really pop on the, they're really going to pop when I stitch them together. You know, see, why does your stuff never go back the way, you know, you take it out, and then you go to put it back, and it's like, oh, I had that project bag so perfectly organized, and now it's all jammed up. Okay, that's pretty good. Then I've got some stuff in here. I don't know why I had this in here. I've got all my Victorian motto threads in a Ziploc bag. And they're in here for, I'm not sure which reason. Oh, I know why. Because in my Blackbird design chart, the first one that I showed you, the purple house with the thing that I individualized with the kids' names, I filled in the windows. The windows were just bare linen behind it. And I was sort of feeling like it's an empty house, like there's nothing, it's like empty, there's no depth. So I ended up stitching that, this was in there, but this is Gentle Arts, I don't know, it's oatmeal. So I ended up stitching oatmeal behind it, which is very subtle that there's something there, but there's a minor variegation in it, and I really like it. Put it away, I'm not going to show you again, but maybe I'll point that out the next video. So, yeah, so maybe I just felt like this needed to come with me. I don't know. It's just a little comfort. Victorian motto is beautifully stitched with. Okay. This is something that I just had to have with me, right? It's like comfort to have all this stuff with me. Just in case, but I didn't bring anything to stitch it. So I bought this ink circles chart, After the Roses. Oh, this was new at market, I'm pretty sure. 2000, yeah, it was. Oh boy, this is so beautiful. And I bought this like a little while ago after our last video, I think, because I don't know if I've showed you. If I have showed you, I apologize, but we're going to go through it again. And I got all the called for floss. I just said to the shop in Calgary, Traditional Stitches, I said, please send me all the called for floss. And I love classic colorworks. Anything with classic colorworks, I just want to stitch with it. So those are the colors. So it's so funny I brought that, because sometimes it's nice to just look at your patterns, look at the colors. Sometimes it's nice, and it's nice to have a distraction too from baby talk and diapers. Okay, this is something that I've purchased in the mail from Gita's in Port Credit shop. Remember, I'm doing the drawn, maybe you don't remember, but I'm doing the drawn thread mini month pocket calendar covers, and there's 12 obviously, one for every month, and they're meant to be a pocket calendar, like to put your pocket calendar in. But for me, everything's online. I love a calendar, but I don't really want to have this squished up against my purse stuff, and I got a lot of stuff in my purse. So anyways, I'm making them all on one piece, and I've done September, which I've showed in a previous video, but I had all of them in the collection except August and July, but now I have July, or was it June? I have them all now. This was the last one I needed. That's August. Oh, isn't that so pretty? I love the drawn thread charts. Oh, I really love them. They're very beautiful. And you know what's nice about this is that I really love the look of the specialty stitches, but you don't have to stitch them. You can, I've done that a lot of times where it calls for Smyrna or something, and I just stitch cross stitches. So I bought that, and you know what, I'm going to do the next month. I got to start October. One thing that really appealed to me about these charts from these particular series is that, well, first, I'm a sucker for series. And second of all, they're small enough. They're like, as small as this box. Like, they're not very big, or like this box. Like, so I know it's hard to get the perspective, but my point is that I can use the fancy floss that I have. So I have lots of floss that I have little bits, because I tend to buy a whole skein when I start a project, and then I put it in, I separate Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks, and I have a container for Weeks. I love all floss, and I have them all separated, and I have a lot of fun going through my boxes and supplementing the colors. And I use the chart. I've talked about this before, and I use the chart, and I pick a nice blue or red, whatever you want. So that was in my basket. That traveled a long way. Oh, and then I have a whole package of little goodies here from Traditional Stitches that I've had. Okay, so I don't know if anybody else is in my position or does this thing that I do, but I buy things and I put them back in the envelope. Like this drawn thread chart is back in the envelope that I bought it. I don't know why, but it's like I buy things and then I don't know if I can accept that I bought it, or I'm just like, I want to keep it special. And probably more that, because I don't care, I'll buy things. But I like to keep it special, and I keep it in the envelope, and then I cart them around. I don't know why. Because imagine if I lost my basket and all my precious gems are gone. But look, I've got this. I joined the club, and I got the sewing club book. And I really want to stitch that. I want to stitch everything. And some people were saying that the book smells kind of funny. I didn't notice it at all. My book, I don't know, maybe, no, mine doesn't have a smell. Mine does not. Oh, and I got this blackbird chart, my friend's house, a loose feathers chart. I got that because I'm all about stitching friends. I think they bring so much joy to my life, and I'm really missing them now. And I can't wait to see my stitching friends again. And to me, this was important that I stitched this. I miss my friends. I told them that. So this. And then, you know, like I said, I won't get all the series, but then I'm a sucker for series, and look at those. Oh, look. I tell myself I can live without the series. Look at that. Oh, I tell myself, oh, I'm not going to do them all. Next thing you know, I've got them all on order. Because I start thinking about it, and I'm like, oh. I got the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. I tend to get them a little bit later because they used to ship to Canada, but oh boy, look at all these yummy things in here. Oh my goodness. I love these magazines, and I'm telling you, I don't even want to tell you how much it cost me to get this magazine, because this magazine, I have to pay to have it shipped to where I live, because I'm Canadian. I have to have it's shipped from the States to a Canadian distributor store, Traditional Stitches in Calgary, which amazing store. Love them. They help me and send me all kinds of nice things. Love it all. But I have to wait for them to get it, which takes time, especially now. Shipping is a lot slower, which is, I'm not complaining. And then I get it, and then by the time I process that I've got this amazing thing in the package that I've left it, I don't, like, I'm ready to stitch something else. I don't need to stitch my little bunny. So I just keep them all special, and I look at them, and I drool over them, and then I can stitch them whenever I want. So that's it. Oh, and then in the bottom here, the depths of this, I don't need to show you, but I've got the floss that goes with this chart. I won't show you, but that's what's in the bottom of that bag. Guys, you know what? We are really lucky to have this hobby, and we are really lucky to have something to be excited about and something to think about. I know for myself, such a busy life with the 2 kids, that to have these things, this basket of stuff, really brings me so much joy. Like, I think about it when I don't have time to stitch, when I'm busy and doing chaotic life appointments or whatnot, or too busy to pull it out, I think about my basket. I bring it with me for comfort 4 hours away to the cottage. Like, it brings me so much joy, and it is something that I'm so glad that I started to stitch again. I'm so glad that I did, because like, I just can't really say enough about this hobby. It's amazing. And the people that I've met through doing this hobby, the new friends that I've gained, and Flosstube, doing it now for 2 years, like, it has brought so much joy to my life. And that's one of the reasons why Allison and I keep making videos, is because it's fun. And yeah, so we're just gonna keep making videos. When it's not fun anymore, we won't make videos or whatever. So we just do it because it brings us joy, both of us. I can speak for the two of us, so when I say that. So, ta-da, that's my basket, and that's my little rant about how much I love stitching, and I love the cottage, and I'm really disappointed to be leaving, but you know what, it's time to go home, and I'll be back, and I'll bring my basket, and maybe I'll show another video with different things in it, different comfort items, new purchases, because I definitely have some things coming from Traditional Stitches. I always have a package coming from Traditional Stitches. And yeah, so, and I would like to make an appointment to go to a cross-stitch store by myself with no kids, and I would really like to spend at least an hour in there by myself, looking around at all the beautiful charts. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Thanks for you know, being interested in what I have in my basket and things that I stitch and everything. And probably the next time you see a video from Stitching Social, it'll be Allison and I together, and we'll make a video together. We've been doing the Zoom videos when we get together, the last couple. They're nice because you don't have to cart your stuff to each other's houses, even though we live a couple blocks away. But there's nothing like meeting with somebody to do a video in person. It's a different feel. You get to talk to each other and look at each other's stuff. I prefer it more. I think the quality is a little bit better too when you sit together and do it, the sound, because sometimes there's interruptions in the video quality. But I really wish that I could see my stitching friends soon. I'm really missing that. I'm really missing that. So, you know, just keep washing our hands and wearing our mask and being socially distant, and fingers crossed that school starts in September. Oh, please. So maybe I'll be able to get more stitching done when school starts, if it ever starts. Oh, okay. Well, everybody, thanks again for watching, and thanks for looking at all my stuff with me, and have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.